Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So we're going to talk about how do we find the angle from the horizontal when we're given a parametric equation, okay? And this is particularly important because this is going to be, I think, step 6 from the 7 steps of parametric equation. So it's important that you make sure you've reviewed previous video, especially the 7 rules or the 7 steps of parametric equation solving, all right? So we're going to focus more on step 6 in this video. So we're going to do from step 1 to 3 as usual to find the dy over dx. Then we're going to jump to step 6 so that we can find the angle from the horizontal. So the first thing I'm going to say is that don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you've not clicked the notification bell, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please do that so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know, okay? And if for any reason you've been practicing and there's some questions that are difficult, please don't hesitate to send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, so let's get cracking now. So we have this example here. We're told the horizontal and vertical coordinates, of an aircraft, okay, are described by the following parametric equation. Okay, so we have x is equal to cos cube t, and we have y is equal to 3 sine t minus sine cube t, okay? Now, given this now, we're now told that you're meant to find, okay? We're told to find the angle from the horizontal at which the plane is flying when t is equal to 1. Okay? So we're meant to find the angle from the horizontal at which the plane is flying when t is equal to 1. All right, let's get cracking now. Okay? So the first thing I told you, step 1, okay? So first thing, step 1, you have to differentiate y in respect to t, okay? So we have y is equal to 3 sine t minus sine cube t, okay? Then the first thing you need to do is to differentiate this. So remember I explained to you sine, cosine, minus cosine. So when you differentiate sine, it's going to give you cosine, all right? So if you've not watched my video on how to differentiate trigonometry, this is a very good time for you to do that, okay? So we then have this to be y will be equal to, you're going to give us 3 cos what? Cos t, so that's dy over dx. Minus. So now you can see here, we can solve this minus sine cube t. So we have to apply chain rule here. All right. So we're going to go down a bit so that we can solve this using chain rule. Okay. So we're going to use chain rule now. Let me put this in green. So we need chain rule to solve the sine cube t. All right, so we need to use the chain rule. So please, it's very important that you go and see and review the further differentiation. We talked about the chain rule, we talked about the quotient rule and how to do it. Okay, so let's go straight into this. So we have sine cube t. Okay, so we're gonna say let u to be equal to sine t. Then if u is equal to sine t, so that means we're gonna have y is gonna be equal to u cubed, right? So we're gonna have du over dt will now be sine, will give you cosine, it's gonna give us cos t, and dy over du is gonna give us 3u squared, okay? And this is gonna be the same thing as 3. The u is equal to sine t all squared, okay? Which is the same thing as saying sine squared t, if you want to do it that way, okay? So that means the same thing as saying equal to 3 sine squared t. Now, but we're not looking for the u over the t. We're not looking for the y over the u. We're looking for what? The y, because we have this to be this. So we're going to look for the y over the t, okay? So we're looking for the y over the t, okay? So the y over the t is going to be equal to du over the t, okay? Multiplied by the y over du, okay? So because if you come to the chain rule here, we know that y was equal to this, okay? So we're looking for the y over the t. Is that making sense? So that's what we're looking for. And the only way to get the y over the t is by multiplying the u over the t by this. And that will give you what? Cos t multiplied by 3 sine squared t. Okay? And this is going to give us 3 cos t sine squared t. All right? So that will be the answer for that. 3 cos t sine squared t. So we're going to go back there now and put the answer for this. It's going to be minus 3 cos t, all right, sine squared t. So the final answer for that is going to be 3 cos t minus 3 cos t, okay, sine squared t. And that will be the answer for the y over what? The t, not the x. So I beg your pardon. I'm used to dx already. So it's going to be the y over dt because we're differentiating y in respect to t. Now step 2. Let's go to step 2. So step 2, now we have to differentiate x in respect to t. So x is cos cube t. Okay, step 2. We have to differentiate x in respect to t. So x is equal to cos cube t. So we're looking for dx over dt. Okay. Similarly, we can't solve this. We need to use chain rule, okay, because it's similar to a composite function. So the same thing, we're gonna have, so let's say y is equal to cos cube t. I want to use chain rule for this. So we're gonna have, let me clean this. So I'll write chain rule. So it's chain rule we're applying here. Okay, so please go back to my video to have a look at it. So chain rule, so we have y is equal to cos cube t, okay? So we're gonna have let u to be equal to cos t, then y is gonna be equal to u cube. Are you seeing it? So, but what we are looking for is the y over the t, right? So that's what we need to find. All right, so let's go. So we'll do this now. So we have the u over the t. So now we have sine, cosine, minus sine, minus cosine. So when you differentiate cosine, it's going to give us minus sine. So it's going to give us minus sine t. Now, and the y over the u is going to give us u cubed, is going to give us 3u squared. Are you seeing it? Then the u is the same thing as cos t. So it's going to be 3 cos, you can clean this now. 3 cos t all squared, which is the same thing as saying 3 cos squared t. Okay? Now, but we're not looking for du over dt, or we're not looking for dy over du. We're looking for dy over dt. Okay? So we now know that the dy over dt will be equal to du over dt multiplied by dy over du. Okay? So this is going to give us minus sine t multiplied by 3 cos squared t. All right? Then when you now press your calculator for this, it's going to give you 3 cos, or 3, it's going to give you minus 3, okay? Cos squared t sine t. So that will be the answer for that. So that will be the dy over the t for this, okay? So the answer is minus 3 cos squared t sine t. So we're going to go back there, and the answer for that is going to be equal to minus 3, okay? Cos squared t sine t. All right, so we've gotten step 2. We found the dx over dt, and we also found the y over dt. Now, but we're not looking for this. We're looking for dy over dx. So step 3, I told you, and the steps, step 3, we know that dy over dx is equal to dy over dt, all divided by what? Dx over what? Dt. So now let's go back. What was our dy over dt? Our dy over dt, we had 3 cos t sine squared t, and dx over dt, we had minus 3 cos squared t sine t. All right, so we're going to do that. So the dy over dt is going to give us 3 cos t minus 3 cos t sine squared t, all divided by dx over dt was minus 3 cos squared t sine t. Let me have a second look to be sure. Minus 3 cos squared t sine t for that one, and 3 cos t, 3 cos t, 3 cos t minus 3 cos t sine squared t. Okay, so that was it. So it's correct. All right, good. All right, so let's go now. So we've gotten our dy over dx. So like I always tell students, if you want to, you can stop there. But if you want to, you can also simplify. All right. Now, in this case, usually in trigonometry, I always prefer to simplify. And the reason why I prefer is because of trig identities, and because there are different ways of solving, and you can also get some trig identities out of it. All right. So because of that, I will want to simplify further. Okay, so just to make your life easier so that you can use your calculator to solve easily. All right, so let's go. So now I can simplify the numerator. So we're going to have this to be 3 cos t into bracket 1 minus sine squared t divided by, we can also bring out 3 cos t here. Does that make sense? So we can have 3 cos t. Then we're going to have minus. We still have 1 cos t left. Okay. And we also have the sine t. Are you seeing it? Then we can then cancel this out. So 3 cos t, we cancel that out. Then we'll now have, we can then have, will be equal to 1 minus sine squared t all over minus cos t sine t. Okay. Now, one of the things is that we talked about trig identities, and if you remember, one of the trig identities I told you then was that cos squared t plus, or let me put it, cos squared x. I think what I used then was cos squared x. So just for students that were taking note. So what I told you then was that sine squared x plus cos squared x was equal to 1. Do you remember? Or should I use this in a green pen so that you will know that I'm just making a note here? So reminder, so I told you then sine squared x, okay, plus cos squared x was equal to 1. So therefore, I can now say cos squared x will be equal to 1 minus what? Sine squared x, okay? So if I want to bring it here, I can also say cos squared t should be equal to 1 minus what? Sine squared what? T. So that means, all right, I can then put this now to be 1 minus sine squared t is going to be the same thing as saying cos squared t divided by 1 cos t sine t. Are you seeing it? So one of the things again you will notice is that we can also collect like terms. That's the reason why for trigonometry I decide to always simplify. So you can then have, this is the same thing as saying, this is the same thing as saying cos t. Cos squared t is cos t multiplying by what? Cos t, do you understand? Divided by minus cos t sine what? Sine t. Are you seeing it? So one of this cos t, we cancel this cos t here. And then we're then going to have, this is then going to be equal to, we have cos t divided by minus sine what? Sine t, okay? Now, also another thing as well that I talked about, another reminder was that I told you that cot, okay? So I told you that cot x is equal to cos x divided by sine x, okay? So I told you that, or I said it's equal same thing as 1 over tan x. If you remember, I said the same thing as 1 over what? Tan x. Okay, so that means if I want to apply this here as well, I can also say that cot t should be the same thing as saying cos t all over what? Sine t, all right? So then if we bring it here, we can now say this is the same thing as minus 1 times cos t over sine t. Then we now know cos t over sine t is equal to cot. So that will be equal to minus 1 times cot t. And then the answer is going to be equal to minus cot t. So you can see we've broken down that the big equation we had here, okay? We've broken it down all the way, the y over dx. So we've broken it down into minus what? Cot t. So that means, therefore, I can now say, all right, in this equation, the y over dx is equal to minus cot t. All right. So, but we are not just looking for the y over dx. We're asked to find the angle, okay? So how do you now go about this? So we first need to find the value of dy over dx. So if you go to the video, I told you to find the angle, we need to find the value of dy over dx. So to find the value of the y over dx, it means that we need to find the value of t. Now, but t was given that we need to find the angle when t, I believe, was 1. Let me just confirm. We're told to find the angle. Yes, we're told to find the angle when t is 1. So we can find the value of the y over dx. So let's do that. So we can find the value of the y over dx. So take this up a bit. Okay. So that is that was step 6. So step 6 now. So we need to find the value of the y over dx. The y over dx is equal to minus cot t, but we know that t is equal to 1. So the y over dx now is going to be equal to minus cot t is 1. Okay, so I showed you how to do this earlier and how to find cot. So because it's tan inverse, it's going to be 1 over tan 1. Then you find the value for that. So I believe you can do that. So when you have minus cot 1, when you press your calculator for that, it's going to give you minus 57.29. Okay, we'll give you minus 57.29. So please, I've talked about trig identities and how to find things like cot, cosec. I've talked about how to find things like this. So please go back to my previous video on trigonometry. I think it's under the advanced trigonometry list, so you can go and know how to find this. All right, so now we've gotten that, but we are not looking for the y over the x. We're looking for the angle. And the angle here is equal to the theta is equal to the tan inverse of the value from the y over dx, which is minus 57.29. And then that will give us equal to what? Minus what? 89 degrees. Okay, and that will be the answer for that. Okay, and that will be the answer for that. All right, just for the fun of it, oh, sorry, this should be positive, not negative, because it's cot, that's 1 over tan, it should be positive, okay? So just for the fun of it, because I just having this feeling that some of my viewers might not know how to do this cot, okay? So let me just use this opportunity to remind them, all right? So, but please, I'll advise you to go back and have a look at this again, okay? So since we're looking for cot 1, all right, but we know that cot is the same thing as 1 over tan, all right? So it's going to be, since we're having minus cot 1, it's going to be equal to minus, into bracket, 1 over the tan of 1. Are you seeing it? Because we know that cot is equal to 1 over what? Tan. Are you seeing it? So that means this is going to be 1 over cot of 1, and that will be equal to minus. So when you now press the cot, 1 over tan of 1 is going to give you 57.29. So that means when you then multiply, the final answer you have is minus 57.29. Okay. Now the same thing you then have. So now you're now finding the tan inverse, which is the same thing. So the theta will be equal to the tan inverse of minus 57.29. And you just press your calculator and that will give you minus what? 89 degrees. Okay, and that is how you do it. So I've solved some question on cosec, I've done some question on sec, we've done arctan and the rest of it. So please go to the trigonometry video playlist and we have loads of this and we solve questions on that, okay? And that was the reason why we have minus. So, but just cot alone was 57.29, but because the answer was minus cot t, so it's going to be minus times 57.29, and that will give you the answer for that. All right. I think that is that for that. So we're going to go to the next video, which will be on how to find stationary points and nature of stationary point using parametric equations. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So that's why it's important for you to subscribe and click the notification bell so that when I post the next video, you'll be the first person to know. All right. So I'm going to see you soon. I'll see you in the next video.